welcome back to Mrs. J's Cooking. So today we're going to be making Alfredo sauce. Now there are a couple different ways to make Alfredo sauce. There's some healthier ways, there's some creamier ways, cheesier ways, but this one is an easy way. So it is an easy Alfredo sauce. For those of you that are just starting to learn how to cook, this is something really simple and it tastes good too. This is one of my students really enjoy. So before we get started, just a few things. I want to go over the ingredients that we need. Start off, some of the ingredients we need whole milk or whatever milk you choose to use, but I use whole. We need 8 ounces of cream cheese. Use 4 tablespoons of butter, some pepper, salt, basil, or if you want fresh basil, get that, and Parmesan cheese. You can use the shaker kind or you can buy a block and freshly grate it. That is really good, but this is what I have on hand. Also, I'm gonna add just a pinch of nutmeg, and I have 1 garlic clove that is already chopped up here and ready to go. 1 or 2 other things I'm gonna need is I need a heavy based saucepan. If you remember before when we were talking about cooking with dairy products, you want to use a low temperature, and a heavier pan also helps keep that heat from getting too hot, like directly on the sauce, if that makes sense. So a thicker pan if you have one, or a heavier pan, and we are going to use low heat. If you don't have a heavy pan, better watch. Ooh, I'm like throwing that around, I better be careful. But if you don't have a pan that's heavier, just make sure you're really watching it and using that low heat. Also, I'm going to use a whisk because I can blend together the cheese once it melts and the Parmesan cheese and stuff in there. And then of course I'll use a ladle later whenever I'm putting it over the top. So I'm going to put my hair back, wash my hands, and let's get started. All right, first thing I'm gonna put in is 4 tablespoons of butter, and I'm gonna bring that over here, put this on, and just get it melted. At this point, I'm gonna turn my burner on low, so we'll get it started so the butter can melt. And while it's melting, I'm going to chop up my garlic clove. So I already have it pre-chopped, but I wanna make sure that I have the garlic into tiny little bits, because you don't really want to be eating sauce and then have a big piece of garlic. It's just a little overpowering. So we want to avoid that by chopping it up really well. And then I also sprinkle a little bit of salt over the top, and then I'll show you what I do with the knife. The salt actually breaks down the cells and it makes it a little bit easier to mince, and then it will blend really well into the sauce. You can see the salt has broken down the cells of the garlic, and I'm just going through to give it a finer mince. And this is ready to go into the butter. I'm gonna add in the garlic. Now that we've added the garlic in, we are going to saute it. So it is going to cook all of those natural flavorings, natural oils from the garlic. It is going to infuse into the butter, which is going to help flavor our sauce. So just long enough to get the garlic to turn a little bit of a golden color, and then we're gonna add in the cream cheese. All right, our garlic looks perfect. It is a nice golden brown color. All right, we want to make sure we don't burn it, because it will affect the flavor. So next we're gonna add in the cream cheese. I have it was already pre-softened. I let it sit at room temperature for a little bit. And once again, remember, we wanna keep that temperature down, so I'm gonna turn it down to low. It was kind of at low to medium. And we're gonna get this mixed in together. Now that the cream cheese is just about melted, what we're gonna do is get 2 cups of our milk ready to pour in, because it's only a matter of time before we're gonna need to add that. Of course, I wanna make sure I get down far enough. I got a little bit too much. So 2 cups of milk. You can always add more if you need it. We're just gonna put a sprinkle of nutmeg in here, a 1/4 of a teaspoon of basil. I'm gonna put a 1/4 of a teaspoon of pepper, 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Remember, you can always add more. You can taste it later, see if it needs any more spices. Just don't re-dip that spoon in there. And then I'm gonna add 2/3 a cup of Parmesan cheese. Remember, you can use fresh Parmesan if you want. Now, the key to this is getting the Parmesan cheese to melt. So we're gonna add this in, I think, before we add in the milk. That way the Parmesan can start mixing in. So I'm gonna add all of these in next, and you get to watch. First, we're gonna add our 2/3 a cup of Parmesan cheese and get that to just gently incorporate and melt into our cream cheese. The cream cheese should be hot enough that it will start to bring that together. Next, we're gonna start adding in our milk. Now, we're not pouring it all in at once. We're gonna add it in smaller increments, just so it gives the sauce a little bit of time, and the cheese a little bit of time to come together with the milk. Otherwise, if you pour it all in, it's kind of a shock because the milk is so cold, and it will solidify some of that cheese that you worked hard getting to melt. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit more of the milk here. All right, you can see we have all the milk added, and it is really soupy, but if you remember from our mac and cheese video, it's just going to be a matter of time before this actually thickens. So I am going to add my seasonings here, and you could do this however you want. I have a pinch of nutmeg, as well as a 1/4 of a teaspoon of basil, 1/4 of a teaspoon pepper, and a 1/4 of a teaspoon salt. Depending on what flavorings you like, you can make adjustments for that. And then I'm just simply going to mix this together and let it cook until it thickens up again. All right, you can see the sauce is starting to thicken up. It is almost ready. All right, everyone, our Alfredo sauce is done. It turned out beautifully. I cooked some pasta, and Mr. J actually grilled some chicken. So we're having our chicken Alfredo pasta tonight. But it's time for him to try the sauce. So let's see. What do you think? So you ready, Mr. J?
I guess.
Look at that presentation.
Yeah, guess who did it?
Ooh. Looks good. Look at the steam.
Yup.
Ooh.
All right.
Winston wants some. Look at him. He's like, please, Daddy. Huh.
It is super creamy and super cheesy. You get an A-.
Nope.
Okay, A+. Are we trying to take my food away from me?
Why a minus? Like.
I was kidding.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Tell me in the comments, what do you like with your Alfredo? Do you like it plain? Do you like chicken? Maybe seafood? What do you like with your Alfredo? Or if you don't like Alfredo, what kind of sauce do you like the best on your pasta? And we'll see you soon. Bye.